Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Fountain of Youth. And this tells a tale of two estranged siblings who join forces to seek the legendary Fountain of Youth. Using historical clues, they embark on an epic quest filled with adventure. If successful, the mythical fountain could grant them immortality. And this film is from director Guy Ritchie and writer James Vanderbilt. And you have Natalie Portman plays Charlotte, who is struggling. She has her soon-to-be ex-husband who wants full custody of her son, and she's struggling to see her son and be with her son. And her estranged brother is played by John Krasinski, who leads a team that formerly was run by their father, going around the world trying to do great adventures and finding great treasures. And you have Krasinski's character, Luke, hired by Owen Carver, played by Donald Gleason, a very rich man who is sick and wants to find the Fountain of Youth. And you have Interpol on them, with Arian Moaid, who plays the inspector who's chasing after them, and Isaac Gonzalez, who plays Esme, who is a sworn protector of the Fountain of Youth. And there's a lot going on here. And this film very much does not feel like a Guy Ritchie movie. It feels like a big, nondescript blockbuster, but also like shot like they didn't care that this was probably going to wind up on a streaming service like it is, because this is an Apple TV original. It just doesn't, it's going for the same vibes as 1999's The Mummy and old Indiana Jones films, but it doesn't have the feeling of them. It doesn't have that same personality. It doesn't have that big cinematic feel. This feels like something copying it that you're going to watch on a streaming service. There's only fleeting moments where you have some inspired direction. There's some elements later in the film where they get to like their final destination, and there's some interesting production design, interesting ideas of how this place is all constructed. And there's one particular moment that has some very interesting visuals and design that is really cool, and you're like, wow, that feels inspired. Where was that the rest of the movie? And this is a Guy Ritchie film. Where's the Guy Ritchie personality? It's just not there. Even Sherlock Holmes, which is a bigger blockbuster budgety kind of film from him, has that Guy Ritchie personality. This does not, and could have used it, because if you look at Vanderbilt's script, it's just drawing upon The Mummy, The Last Crusade. There's so many archetype characters from those other films, and they feel a lot less interesting this time around. And none of these characters really have a whole lot of characterization. They're kind of just bland, one-dimensional archetypes, and it's frustrating. You only get fleeting moments of real personality and characterization. Oddly enough, probably my favorite character moment is a little dining scene between Donald Gleason's character and Natalie Portman's son's character. Thomas, played by Benjamin Chivers, and like they have a fun moment together. I'm like, wow, where was this the rest of the film? Natalie Portman is a fantastic actor. She just has like nothing to work with, and like the one scene where it's like, ooh, she's playing has some personalities because she's drunk, and they're trying to do the same exact thing that they did in The Mummy with Rachel Weisz, except Rachel Weisz's character had character. Here, it just comes up like, oh look, she's a little ditzy, and John Krasinski is just kind of doing his John Krasinski thing. There's not a lot there on top of that. There's a lot of wasted actors here. Donald Gleason has his moments where he like injects a little personality, but then once you get to a certain point in the film, it's like obnoxiously like lampshading what his character is and where this is going. And none of this feels surprising. It feels overstuffed. In those other films, when you have all these different elements, at least they have some personality and stuff like that, so it feels less overstuffed because you're like, oh, I like having them on screen. Here, it's just like, why are you on screen? Get back to the actual plot of the film. It just feels overstuffed with uninteresting characters, so then it feels uninteresting. The action is solid, I would say. I wouldn't say this is like bad action. I'm not going to say it's great action either, but at least it's entertaining action. And I think Richie does a fine job. There's like subtle moments where I felt like the music was actually working really well, and I really liked some of the elements of this score. Christopher Benstead, who composed the film, there's some moments and I'm like, I appreciate that. But overall, this film just feels like a hollowed out version of The Mummy, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And it just feels like it's borrowing too much. There's only fleeting moments where it really has some interesting personality. A lot of that is very focused on the Fountain of Youth towards the very end of the film. And there's only moments where you get some fun personality to enjoy along the way. So at the end of the day, this is a very just there kind of film. It's there on Apple TV Plus. It's 2 hours and 5 minutes of, like a distracting time, and it has enough working for it where it is a distracting time and you could just sit back and watch it. But those are my thoughts on Fountain of Youth. Let me know what you think and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.